Well, I want to show you this. Our state earning a big honor. Washington ranked third in the nation when it comes to the top states for beaches. So joining us live to explain this morning, Stephanie Seekich, of the Surfrider Foundation. Stephanie, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, Stephanie, tell us about the rankings. I mean, what are these based on here?
So what we do is we grade 32 states across the nation, including Puerto Rico, and we grade them on four things. You know, how is the state managing the sand that's on the beach, development standards, sea level rise planning, and how they deal with erosion through armoring. And we have a rubric where we assign points, so it's not arbitrary. And the trend that we keep finding every year is that about 67% of our states, including Gulf and the Great Lakes, are not prepared for sea level rise, and they have really poor development standards. And so that's kind of getting in the way. And as we have more climate change impacts, it's really imperative that we do that sea level rise planning and upgrade our land use plans.
Now, when people think about Washington State, the first thing that pops into their mind is not our great beaches here, but we have some fantastic beaches. So why did Washington rank number 3 on your list?
Okay, so I lived in Seattle, and I have to take umbrage with that. I have been to so many awesome beaches there.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, it goes to the laws and policies you have on the book. So in 1971, you all passed the Shoreline Master Program, and that requires municipalities to have progressive land use plans where you're not going to build in harm's way. So really, because you haven't built in harm's way, you're a lot safer than other states like Florida, who build right up to the coast. The other thing that's unique about Seattle is that you have roughly 3,000 miles of coastline, and roughly 68% of Washingtonians live within a shoreline. So as sea level rise comes in down the future, it's really imperative that Washington, Seattle, big metropolitan areas are planning even more so than we already are for sea level rise.
I mean, I really love the fact that, even at number 3, to live in the number 3 best state for beaches feels like a really cool honor. But what do we do to make it to the top of the list?
Perfect question, and I was going to get to it if you didn't ask. So last year, the legislature saw a bill, SB 1099, and in that bill, it was kind of an omnibus bill. There was a lot of stuff in it, but in that bill, it had a clause that would require municipalities to analyze sea level rise planning. So right now, that's not a requirement. Unfortunately, it failed, and it didn't fail because of that part of the measure. It failed for other reasons. So we actually feel pretty confident that we're going to be able to hopefully get it through the legislature this year. And if that's the case, then we might see an A in Washington.
So are we doing better than many other states in terms of protecting our beaches?
By far. So what we've found is the West Coast, including Hawaii, we have a B average, B plus. Unfortunately, when we look at the Southeast and the Gulf, they're poor grades. So we are, again, the laws that we passed in the 70s on the West Coast, Oregon, California, and Washington, we are very progressive. And so we kind of saved ourselves from future bad development by passing these laws long ago. And now these states that are languishing and having problems kind of need to up the ante and copy all the laws that we've been using for the past 40 years.
Wow.
So Stephanie, I wanted to, you talked about the rising sea levels in Florida and the huge concern there. Are there some states that are in real danger of losing some beaches or having beaches that are just unusable anymore?
Yes, actually, it's happening all over. So, for instance, I was just in Hawaii, and a home had fallen into the ocean. We were going to look at the area, and we almost fell in the ocean ourselves. So,
Wow.
like, that beach is gone. It was very dangerous for us. North Carolina, there was another home that fell into the ocean. You saw what happened with Hurricane Nicole. The whole coast of Daytona Beach literally is falling in, multiple structures. So really, it's kind of the Southeast and really the Gulf. And for instance, Galveston, their sea level rise have already gone up 18 inches. Now that's huge, but again, it's topography and it's different. So we're kind of lucky on the West Coast because we are not as vulnerable as some of those other states.
Yeah.
Stephanie Seekich of the Surfrider Foundation, thank you for spelling that out for us. We appreciate it.
Wow.
Thanks for having me.